All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to the reversion. I'm Anthony of Westgate. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Thanks for joining me here this Friday evening. We've got kind of a variety of content planned tonight. I just thought I'd jump on and cover some of the current thing, discourse, some of the highlighted uh, discussions and events that occurred this week. So we'll just be kind of looking at current events and uh, digging into how some of them may relate to broader things going on in the world. But welcome on in if you're joining us here. I appreciate all of you. Um, Thanks for all the support recently. Because of you, you've helped put me into the top 10 in rising on Substack in the history category. So I appreciate all of your support. Uh, I think we've since dropped a little bit, but I mean this is just moving so quick, and technically I'm number 5 here because there's some uh, I don't know who this Emma character is, but apparently she just writes like smut and has her page out and stuff like that, writing articles about her. So not really history. I mean, on Substack, you can just categorize yourself as whatever topic you want. So people just do that to kind of cheat the algo, get more visibility. Nevertheless, even just being, I would say, even in the top 20 is just incredible for this humble little publication that I started uh, about 3 years ago. So thank you all. It's been a tremendous help being on YouTube now. Thanks to you guys as well over on YouTube for the support and for checking out the content over on the Substack. That is still the best way to follow me, just because who knows what's going to happen with these platforms going into, you know, the way that things are that they've been going with censorship. I mean, it's just so unpredictable. So Substack, thankfully, I've been able to grow a sizable audience on there, and I own that entire email list. So if anything happens, even on Substack, to my content, I still can contact all of you through the email list. So that's just been a really big benefit. And I encourage any creators in our space to consider having something like that to protect your content, because you do not own any of these audiences, these platforms that are dependent upon an algorithm to distribute your content. So we're approaching 50,000 followers actually, even on on X, which is incredible. And I don't consider any of those my real audience because I can't access them if I lose my X account. So I'm completely dependent upon X to uh, not censor my account, not suspend me, not change the algorithm in some way that impacts me. Um, and so I'm thankful for every one of these followers, but also I don't consider this my true audience just because I have no way of contacting a single one of these people outside of this platform. So yeah, we're actually going to be looking at something that'll be a good starting point. I didn't really have a particular piece of content in mind to kind of kick things off, but since we're on the subject, and actually before I even get into that related news, I'm now a partner on YouTube. So again, thank you to the YouTube people. So you can now send super chats if you feel so compelled to do so, uh, and it'll be read on the live on the stream with TTS if you donate $5 or more. I know that last time I didn't have it set up properly, so the donations I was having to manually read them. So this time you'll actually get your message played pretty much as soon as you donate. So if you feel like doing that, that's all set up now. Um, Thank you for joining it. We got Patton in the chat. Let's go. Patton finally was able to join stream. Patton's one of the OG, I think maybe even the first paid subscriber I ever had on Substack, which is crazy. He's an OG for sure. Thank you for all the support, Pat. And um, so, yeah, I mean, I figured, while we're on the topic of censorship, social media, stuff like that, let me pull this up here. There are topics that I want to cover in more depth. So, one of them is going to be the ongoings with the Epstein files. The other is some of the discourses occurring around the the Z question, the Zionist question, in mainstream media.
Krusty Doodle Sack donated $5 through
Let's
Super
go.
Chat. Love what you do, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, Krusty. There's the first super chat. Thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. I will try to keep it up. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. First super chat ever. Let's go. Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of, I think, my third week even doing the live stream, so I'm still kind of experimenting with content, but I think it's fair to say that you can expect more deep dives, live research sessions, stuff like that. And then also, I figured the live stream is probably a good opportunity to cover some more current events, which I try to avoid covering in my evergreen content on Substack, because it's just, it has such a small time frame that it's relevant. So I figured this would be a good maybe test stream for that kind of thing. We'll go over some current events here, but yeah, let me pull up this debate that occurred, the latest in blood sports drama. If I can find this, I have a whole list of links here. Now, my problem is I've got to find what I'm looking for. Where are we here? Okay, so this was on the Jubilee debate, which is, I think, now becoming one of the biggest, if not the biggest, debate platforms on YouTube. Millions of subscribers. They get people from it. Well, this one was kind of weird because it's like a bunch of Twitter anons. And I mean, I've never heard of any of these guys except for this one. This is Pine Sap, who's I guess he's like a trad personality. I don't know. But it's a little bit strange, the selection process for this debate in particular, because it's just such a strange group of people, as we'll see. But
World War II, it was
basically, this guy Pine Sap came out and said he's a fascist and lost his job over this, and now he's doing the whole um, crowdfunding support so he can eat. You hate to see it. I mean, disagree with him or not, it's like, this is just ridiculous. So I'm going to play this, and I guess we'll just kind of like look at what happened here. I actually never watched this whole thing. I've just been seeing clips, and apparently this Mehdi guy is some journo. I don't know if I've seen him before. I've probably seen him on Twitter. I don't know if I've seen him speak before, but I guess he's some left-wing journalist.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn persecution of the Jews?
I think that there's a little bit of persecution and
we
stuff
may
like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
So, by the way, it's you got to hit the gym, man. I'm not trying to say like I'm in the greatest shape or anything, but like, you can't be like, you have to look the role, man. If you're gonna say you're a fascist, like, come on, man. You got to start getting shredded, get some weights up. I don't know, just get like this is kind of what I mean. It's like these guys are all there's a few like kind of normal looking conservative type people, but it's just kind of a strange looking group of characters. That's all. It feels a little bit astroturf. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone
Because
is on this.
in
Because you know
during-
that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking the fascists and the
Absolutely.
Nazis out.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat
Are
cats. They
you
were
in favor
aristocrats.
of,
They didn't care.
favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not. If
You mentioned
they...
Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who
True.
he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic,
He only
dude.
killed combatants. Is that what you're
Yeah,
claiming?
Okay, so and then this is a thing they hear. They fact check these people because I mean they're just coming on and saying whatever they want. So I guess they do this little fact check thing. Now what's interesting is they fact checked this thing he said about Franco that he didn't kill women and children, which to my knowledge is true. Um, and this fact check is about the fact that he killed other Catholics who were siding with the communists, or showed communist sympathies or something along those lines. Not that he did kill women and children. So they didn't really, they kind of like didn't really actually address what he just said. Like they're just throwing out another thing like, yeah, well, he was, yeah, he killed some Catholics too. Okay. I mean, doesn't really debunk what he said about that Franco didn't kill women and children.
Only kill combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The white terror were only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill
You
people.
just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position.
So these liberal types, like they don't really know that much about the stuff he's talking about, like the history of these, like especially like the Spanish Civil War. It's like they have pretty, speaking, they have pretty minimal knowledge of that kind of thing. Like what when they just see, maybe they'll know Franco and say Franco bad because fascist. So you're seeing him kind of retreat back to the, Mahala Bunga. What about the 6 million? And this is obviously just like such a beat to death kind of like moral posturing to get somebody to like contradict in any way the 6 million, the kind of like accepted mainstream narrative about that thing that occurred in World War II. And it's just like kind of a cheap debate tactic because it's like, why are you like, what is the debate topic here? It's Trump is defying the Constitution. Why are we talking about Mahala Bunga,
To ask anyone else.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a
Feeling
Nazi,
is mutual.
if
So
being a Nazi means upholding human
Canada.
dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't. In a state that I was
with the
running,
greatest of
I wouldn't
respect,
want to. I wouldn't want to hurt
I
you
don't
or
debate.
anything like that. But
what are we
quite
doing here?
frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
okay. So do you
So that's just like, so he doesn't have like, do you have an argument? This is like so weird. Like you could tell he would have like walked away from this if he weren't forced in this situation where he has to debate the guy because it's part of the show and he has no say in voting people off or getting them to go away. So he's just like, oh, I don't debate fascists. It's just, again, it's like, you're just avoiding the debate. So, yeah, I mean,
concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So
so you're not winning anything by like trying, he already admitted he's a fascist and you're just like you're a person. So I'm not going to debate you. It's really just low tier debate here. Not on the part of Pine Sap here, but just like this guy who, they threw up here to have challenged, and he's like the primary opponent that everyone has to face. And like now he's just kind of backing out of this debate.
I mean, what are we doing here? Because I mean, you just seem
know
offended.
what you're doing here,
You
to be
just seem
honest.
offended, to be quite frankly. Like,
I'm offended by people who don't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really
Against
care
the
about
Jews?
being. Yeah, sure. I don't care though about being called a
Yeah,
Nazi
sure.
is the whole thing.
I never called you a
I
Nazi.
care
You
about
called
doing the
yourself a
right
Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco
Well,
supporter.
yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was
He didn't say he's a Nazi.
awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because
He keeps saying quite frankly. Look, I'm not going to diss him because of that. I've got my own verbal tics. I'm sure he was pretty nervous. This is like, millions of people saw this. But that, yeah, it's just like, keep saying quite frankly. It's like, just be frank without saying it.
And you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in
What
democracy.
are you doing here at a televised debate?
Because,
This is democracy. Not what a debate and disagreement.
Because it is the means
It's
to.
not, dude. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to keep pausing this. I'm just like, this is just so cheap. He's like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, if you're not a fan of democracy. He's talking about democracy as a governance model, not as like, having freedom of speech and like and discourse. It's like the come on, man. It's so dishonest.
Important end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean
This is
upholding
great.
free speech after we win.
Again,
I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment
the
we're
whole
in
reason,
is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole
It's great.
reason.
It's a quiet
Oh, yeah,
part
here
about
this
it.
is
Fascist moment
the
we're
whole
in
reason
is that you guys are so open about it.
the
It's
whole
great.
so there's your right-wing influencer. Your right-wing influencer, sir. Your based right-wing anon. Wearing the silk shirt with the man bun, looking very feminine. And even the way he's like waving that flag like with the limp wrist. Like, what is going on here? Why did they pick these characters? This seems like such a setup, like to make the right look stupid.
Listen,
Say
I
the
mentioned
quiet part loud.
the
Keep saying
whole
it.
reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
Past him because of the Nazi
Even
point.
liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage against me. Just that simple.
Got nothing.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Yeah, he's got nothing. So yeah, Pine Sap, who that was the guy just talking. He I don't know if I have the tweet for it, but he basically he lost his job. This came out I think a couple days ago that he was identified by his employer, lost his job, understandably. Although excusable, but I mean, look, that's just the private sector for you. I mean, that's what they're going to expect that, right? It's like you hate to see it, but also, if you're going to go on a public stage like that in front of millions of people and while you're face doxing and out yourself as a fascist, you better have some kind of financial income set up for yourself that you're not dependent upon an employer. That's all. He's a young guy. I hope, unfortunately, it's like this is a lesson he's going to have to learn. I think he's doing pretty okay. It seems like from what I've seen of his, let me see if, let's just do a quick search here. His Gives and Go, I think, is raised now. Oh gosh, they're roasting him. Quite frankly, award. Yeah. Okay. So at least up, as of 3 days ago, he's raised $25,000. So I'm sure it's up to much more than that now. So it's like, that's great, but also you don't want to have to rely on a Gives and Go when you get canceled or something. It's like, just get in place. If you want to be an anon and you're going to talk about these things that you're going to get canceled for eventually, especially if you're putting your face out there, you've got to have something set up where you're not dependent upon an employer. Otherwise, you're just not ready to do that kind of thing. You're just not ready. That's just the state of the world right now. We're not at that point where you can just go on a public debate stage in front of millions of people and joke about how you're a fascist, ironically, with your face out there and your income is dependent upon an employer who's going to find out that you're a fascist. It's like, yes, it's unfair that you could say you're a communist or you're, an LGBT activist or something like that, and you're likely not going to lose your job. In fact, you'll probably be celebrated, especially if you're an LGBT activist or something like that, right? So yeah, it's not fair. Know that it's not fair. That's just, again, the state of the world. We have to, you want to put food on the table, you got to play by their rules to an extent, or at least, just just staying on, right? No harm in that. But you hate to see it, and I don't support uh, that kind of thing happening to anyone. But employers can do what they want. You have to think about it from the perspective of a company. I don't know what we probably don't know what company he worked for. I'm sure it's out there, but like I don't really care. But regardless, you have to think about the company and how if they have shareholders and stuff like that, and now it's known, it's bringing all this attention to the company that they've got a spooky fascist on staff, and he's bringing all this attention to this debate and stuff like that. It's like they have an incentive to get rid of him, unfortunately, and that's just how it works. So yeah, that was it's still an ongoing discourse on right wing X. I guess just on the political side of X, really, because that's just like a huge platform now. That like whatever that topic is on Jubilee that's debated. I mean, you see those clips circulating for weeks after they publish a new episode. So I mean, again, like blood sports is now mainstreamed. So you're seeing that on pretty much every big public debate now is using the blood sports format. They're not these real like kind of formal formats anymore where you get an opening statement and then a cross examination. That's not real doing. It doesn't perform as well. Like no one's interested in these kind of more academic formal debates. It's all blood sports. So people want to see the two sides yelling over each other. You're seeing this now with Pierce Morgan. So if you watch the Pierce Morgan show where he has these debates, it's all just open. It's just open debate. It's blood sports style. And that's why he's been having Andrew Wilson on a lot lately, because Andrew Wilson's kind of mastered blood sports. And I think Pierce actually likes him a lot, it seems. So, all right. So let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, we've got some interesting developments in the world of tech. This was a pretty, let me grab the link here. So this is pretty disturbing. This is a new product that's hit the market, or I guess it's in pre-order, and it's called Waves. It's camera glasses for creators. Now you can live stream all day. Just live stream whatever you're doing. When you're going outside and touching grass, well, you can live stream that too. So everyone can know what an awesome life you have outside of computer world, outside of the internet, even though you're still streaming. This is very dystopian, very disturbing, and here's the trailer for it.
This is a spot.
So it's now it's just like POV. It's just everything's POV now. It's like POV. You can see what the streamer's looking at through his eyes. Clip saved.
That's how you do it out here.
And of course, it's like, why are they showing a party? Think about how pathetic this is from whoever's watching this. So you're sitting at home on a Friday night, kind of like what you're doing right now, except you're watching somebody partying and having fun, and you're on the computer watching a live stream. And it's just like some degenerate party. They're all drinking and throwing each other in the pool. That's fun. That's something that's fun that you would watch on a stream. beer pong. Wow. Oh, soy face. Oh, soy facing. It'd be funny if you got punched in the face, like POV. It's just like, like he gets punched in the face, his glasses break. He's like, twitching on the floor. Someone grabs the glasses and like takes over. All kinds of crazy stuff that could happen with this kind of thing. What if and there's something that you can't, that an expletive thing happening that you can't stream?
Wrong room.
Get the fuck out.
I think that's what they were implying there.
Look who showed up.
Gambling.
I'm not late, am I?
Oh, let's check chat. Let's check the Twitch chat. GG, dude. Yo. Patton saying my mic cuts out for a split second. That may be my connection. I don't know. I obviously I can't hear it. So I know that like on the previous streams, it sounds like there was maybe a bit of a latency thing. But I apologize if my mic's cutting out and you can't hear anything. It's not too bad. Let me know if it is in the chat. I'll try to fix it. Like, just think about that. This is how they're advertising this. This guy's so connected, man. He's like checking the chat on his Apple Watch. He's streaming through his glasses. It's just like really dystopian. Like people can't just have real experiences anymore without letting the whole world know. All these strangers. Let's let thousands of strangers in on, what an interesting, fun person I am outside of the internet world. And it's like you're just constantly connected. This idea that it's like you have to stream everything, these IRL streams, this is kind of like the logical conclusion of all streams if you think about it. Because like these guys that did the IRL, I guess, they'd go around with the backpacks. They had their whole rig in their backpack, and they would have like, I don't know, maybe a GoPro or something that's kind of mounting their smartphone so that they can stream. Maybe it's all in one device. It's like they're checking the chat and streaming at the same time. They could lose battery, like all kinds of stuff can go wrong. And now it's like, this is the logical conclusion of all that. But it's just really sad. This is the direction things are going. And like people with these new technologies, it's like they're mostly just adopted without question, without thinking about the consequence. That's kind of what happened with the iPhone. It just became a default technology to have and to own. And if you don't have a smartphone, it's like you're left out on a very big component of communication. And you're kind of like this outcast almost. You're not really connected with everyone else. And it's like we don't really weigh the consequences of these things. We just see ads like this and it's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm a streamer. I'm an IRL streamer. I'm going to get that. That'll make things a lot easier. There's always a trade-off with convenience.
Whoops.
They're just asking for TOS violations with this. Okay, so that right there is a TOS violation. So like, what kind of live stream is this? A guy pulls out a gun while they're gambling. Think about what's going on here. This is how they're advertising this. It's like a very dangerous situation. There's like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash on the table that they're gambling for. Pulls out a gun. They're walking in on people doing, stuff that you can't stream. It's like, what's going on here? Well, who is this for? Uh-oh. Another streamer has entered the chat.
Hey.
And now you're gonna watch them make out.
Are you recording me?
So now they're both streaming there as they. Okay, that's just so bizarre. Yeah, this is a good point, Danny. It destroys expectations of privacy and turns everyone to a node for surveillance. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Now you can just like, why even try to be private at all and have some kind of try to avoid all this like encroaching surveillance. It's like they're just going to get people to surveil themselves. It's like, hey, feds, just like watch what I'm doing all the time now. You can see all these like illegal things I'm doing. I'm streaming it. So retarded. There's another. So there was more news that actually this just happened today. We're gonna get into some stuff with new apps, more kind of like creepy, strange apps that are entering the discourse. So this one is well, let me get what. Yeah, okay. Well, this is fine. This is an app called T, where apparently it's a woman's own dating app, so that they can spill the tea to each other about how horrible all the men that they're dating on these apps are. And there's nothing that any of the men can do about it because they can't even sign up. You have to prove your identity as a woman to get on this app. And this, I think, just launched this week, to my knowledge. And within days, 4chan basically leaked a data breach. I guess they were able to. I don't know. Who knows how 4chan does, but they targeted this app and leaked the photos of some of these women that have signed up for this app. And it's like, this is who's spilling the tea on how horrible men are. Just some like crazy looking. This one here at the bottom right looks like that punished Sam Hyde photo. I mean, there's just some really crazy looking women on here. So these are the women that are, just complaining about just how horrible these men that they're dating are. It's like, yeah, just as expected. So no surprises there. So like, and I'm not leaking anyone's like, this isn't doxing. It's just photos of people, but well, some of those there, but yeah, it's like the more pictures and it's just not really helping anything here. Unfiltered photos. So these, I guess, are the ID verification photos. That's what it is. So like this is however they looked when they signed up for the app and they had to verify their identity. So it's like no makeup or anything, they're just like laying around. So yeah, so that happened. And then there was also, they took to Reddit these women who were targeted in this leak, and they went to Reddit and just started having complete meltdowns, just seething on Reddit. Men are posting pictures of women from T app, and I'm losing my mind. Reddit is like the only I do use Reddit for like basically hobby related stuff that like you can't really get like all this paused like information about it, like fishing, stuff like that. It's fine. But for anything else, this is the only thing it's good for, is like just getting a look at how, these meltdowns are going down, because this is where they go. They just take it to Reddit and they just have these public meltdowns. Yeah. So the only way forward is 4B, ladies. With males in any capacity will literally put your life in imminent danger at this point. I mean, we don't know. It's like, we don't know who they are. It's just photos. I mean, they like, if people are able to identify them like locally, I mean, that's probably good. It's like, avoid these women, but it's not like they're being targeted and their lives are in danger, like on a global scale or something. It's just so ridiculous. There's, okay, also Speaking of dating apps, the ADL has praised Grindr, the famous Skittles dating app, for prohibiting discrimination against Zionists on its platform. So you're not allowed to put anything like no Zionist, no Zionism, anything like that in your Grindr profile. Or I guess it breaks TOS. And so the ADL is like, yes, that's a big win. That's yeah. I mean, there's not much else to say about that. I just thought that was pretty funny. We've also got, in the world of AI, we've got Trump making a statement. Where was this? The something forum. I don't know where this was exactly, but this was a couple days ago. He says the American people do not want woke Marxist lunacy in their AI models, and neither do other countries. So he's looks like maybe talking about, or at least encouraging, AI policies, for, fairness, for no impartiality politically and stuff like this is probably due to the thing that happened with Grok recently, which I covered in a live stream last week, and some of the implications behind that. So I won't get too into that because I already did a whole live stream on the dangers of this, of adopting quote based AI. You know, it's like, oh, if the AI were just based, then I can use it and be fully dependent upon it for contributing information and knowledge to me. So, I already shared my thoughts on that in that live stream. You can check it out. It's from last week. But, now here we have the President of the United States kind of encouraging policies for this kind of thing.
One of Biden's worst executive orders established toxic diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology as a guiding principle of American AI development. So you immediately knew that was the end of your development. But the American people do not want woke Marxist lunacy in the AI models, and neither do other countries. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it. That's why on day one, I very proudly terminated Joe Biden's order on woke AI, effective immediately. You don't have any of those crazy rules. Crazy.
It sounds like woke AI is an AI model.
rule. And in just a moment, I will be signing an order banning the federal government from mirroring AI technology that has been infused with partisan bias or ideological agendas such as critical race theory, which is ridiculous. And from now on, the U.S. government will deal only with AI that pursues truth, fairness, and strict impartiality. We're not going to go through the craziness that we've gone through for the last 4 years. And then we skip 4 and go back, and it started then. But it hung around a little while. Now it's not hanging around. Now it's actually very uncool, as somebody told me the other day. It's so uncool to be woke.
So it's like what we're seeing now. I mean, this is AI is a nuclear scale weapon in information warfare, and now this is going to be just like a regular thing where it's a point for politicians to run on woke versus anti-woke AI models. So expect to see much more of this in the future. It's only just going to accelerate. So, just interesting developments there. Not really much of a development, but it's like you're getting to see kind of what now, presidents, what leaders of countries are saying about how to policies for this information nuclear warhead type. So, okay, we also have, we're going to get into some more leaks here. Kind of behind the scenes as everyone's talking about the Epstein files. This isn't too important. I mean, it's not really, I would say it's probably not really important at all in the grand scheme of things because it's not like we didn't know this already, but and I think no one's paying attention to it really. but the MLK files were leaked, I guess. They were declassified from the FBI. The FBI, this is kind of what they'll do with, figures like this, JFK, MLK. They'll wait like 30, 40 years, 50 years to declassify stuff because it's kind of not really relevant in the, it's not being discussed in the public consciousness. It's not really in them anymore. It's like kind of just, oh, that was a long time ago or whatever. And it depends on, people actually covering this to a large audience. So yeah, basically, this gives a rundown of all this stuff, how the FBI was involved with MLK. I mean, again, we already knew this stuff, but it's good to have an official declassified FBI report on it because there was some books, I think, written about this that were highly debated and questioned the legitimacy of these books, how the FBI, and I'm sure it doesn't say anything like the FBI killed him, but that was released in, I forget the name of the book. There's kind of a somewhat famous conspiracy book about this that says that it was the FBI that like they snuck into his hospital room, got shot because he wasn't dead, so that he was shot and he wasn't killed. The FBI showed up and like snuffed him out with a pillow or something, called him the N-word. That's the story. But I don't think that this discloses that part, obviously, because that would have been talked about pretty widely. But yeah, I mean, it's just showing what a degenerate he was. I mean, we all knew that. So, and this is someone that there's a whole day off from work. The country basically stops to commemorate this horrible degenerate. And this is an American icon. This is somebody who's praised as kind of this this like American saint, this secular saint. And this is the kind of person he was. Again, I'm not going to read all of this, but there's stuff about how he was graping women and things like that. I think there's another link here. Where is it? Yeah, there's this one here. And this is really the only thing I found of interest. Reports of King's party graping women in his presence. Not sure if these have been posted on X, haven't been on a lot. Okay, definitely damning stuff. Not sure how the media can read 300. That's another thing. It's 230,000 pages. No one's going to read that and like sift through all of it. No bombshells. In the space of 3 hours to declare no bomb. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that maybe this is the biggest bombshell, that there was like a report of not him, but others like graping women while he was there. I mean, we know that he was like beating Coretta Scott King. He was like beating her up and stuff and probably doing other stuff. But yeah, again, not really news to those of us who've kind of like been aware of that kind of thing. But so I guess maybe we can get into the Epstein files now, since we're on the topic kind of. But the Trump, the MAGA base, I think, is in full blown cope now. They're in everyone's collecting their Fell for It Again awards. So this is a video of I mean, and I've seen it. This is not new. So this stuff is not new. It's just now it's in recirculation because everyone's hyper aware of it now that the Trump administration is like has kind of flipped on releasing the client list, and it's just like everyone's just recirculating this content. But this is about this is Epstein in questioning in 2010, admitting that he has relationships with Trump. They're in communication with each other, and then he pleads the fifth. And I'll just play it here.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump? What do you mean by close relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
Yes, it's just looping, but yeah, he pleads the 5th when it's about, you know, have they ever? It's like that's kind of incriminating because he's not saying no, I guess. So more, you know, more speculation about. I mean, and the reason this is recirculating, obviously, is because now people are like for all this time, everyone was, at least the MAGA base was like, you know, oh, that's all just hearsay. It's like he wasn't on the flight logs, whatever. Now that it's coming into question, all this stuff is resurfacing and it's got this new context. There, this was posted as well. Again, not too incriminating, just because we already know that they had a relationship with each other. It was just there. I mean, we've all seen the photos of Trump and Epstein together. There's like multiple photos of them together, but this is a book that Trump, one of Trump's books, I guess maybe The Art of the Deal, which he signed for Jeffrey Epstein back in 1997. It says, "To Jeff, you are the greatest. The greatest. The greatest what?" So, you know, it's like, okay, maybe he might have signed that for a ton of people. I don't know. But not really a smoking gun or anything like that. But well, this guy seems to think it's a smoking gun. I don't think that's that's not really a smoking gun, like any more so than the photos of them together, you know. So he's talking about it more now, Trump. You know, between deflecting and saying that it's a nothing burger, and you know, oh, everyone's so obsessed with it, we need to let it go. And now I guess this was today. I guess he's being questioned, you know, by these reporters about it. So it's like he's got to say something. So this is him talking about Clinton.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. There are a bunch of people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Right across your door.
I mean, all you got to do is release them, though, and then it's done. No one's going to talk. No one's going to question you about it anymore if you're not on the list. You know, and I'm not saying that he is. I don't know. I suspect he is, but I you know, I'd prefer to be wrong about that. I mean, I think nobody prefers to have a sitting president who was in any way involved in what was going on in Epstein. So it's not like it's a win if I'm right about that. But I mean, it's just like, why is he now calling it a Democrat hoax? You know, he's like, it's just very bizarre. You know, it was on Pam Bondi's desk apparently, and they were about to release it, and now it's a Democrat hoax. So it's like, it's just very suspicious. That's all. That may be all we ever know about it, and it's very just going to remain in the realm of conspiracy forever. So you know that we already have the flight logs. I mean, we've had those for years. We've had the flight logs for years. So I mean, Obama's on them. You know, there's a bunch of really powerful people on those flight logs. If those are legitimate, I think they are. That's good enough for me. But the public deserves to have like an official release, because most people aren't gonna these like leaks that only appeared on like 4chan and that are being, that were circulating around and stuff that they can't really verify them. So the public is, the public deserves to have like a verified thing, but they're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. This is too big of this implies that there's PDF files running the powerful state or the most powerful country in the world. I mean, it's too big of a thing to just like, the government's going to release that. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know. I don't know if he's on them or not. I don't know if it matters, but it certainly doesn't look good. And, say what you want. Oh, maybe he's playing 4D chess. Oh, he's just trust the plan. He's playing 4D chess. He knows what he's doing. I don't think so. Again, I would love to be proven wrong, but I've always been, look, I voted for Trump. Okay. A lot of people think that I'm like super anti-Trump because I do criticize him. I don't praise him very often. I more so criticize him. But I did vote for him, and I do want to be proven wrong. Like I would like to see him, like live up to his promises and stuff like that, and have these mass deportations, which we haven't seen anything like that yet. I mean, it's just like kind of hopium now. I was proven wrong though, so I would gladly take an L on it. That wouldn't be an L for me. It's like that's just like I'm wrong, and then something good happens, so that's fine. It's not like my reputation isn't at stake, right? It's like it doesn't matter. Like I want him to deliver on his promises. What else do we have okay, we've got other stuff for Epstein. I've got a few more links here. We've got this just happened today as well. We had Ghislaine Maxwell had a meeting with the DOJ. She returned to prison with a white box after meeting with the DOJ. And this is kind of the only photo we have. She's got a big bin, probably with documents. She's either getting pardoned or Epsteined. I mean, yeah, so if she gets pardoned, what does that mean? Then there's something going, like that just verifies that there's something going on. I think probably either way. Like if she's getting Epsteined or or pardoned, it's like why? Like she's sentenced to 20 years, which is not even that much. Like I mean, it's like we still don't even know all the stuff she disclosed that she was sentenced for, right? Interesting developments there. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm not as involved, admittedly, in the Epstein ongoings as many other journalists and independent journalist types are. There's plenty of sources for that kind of thing. I mean, it's pretty much covered in all the mainstream news outlets to some degree. You're not going to get the full thing. You're certainly not going to get the stuff about Epstein's ties to Mossad, which we'll look at here. I've got something, an old post that I made last year that resurfaced. I don't know who, someone got a hold of this. I think a few big accounts, I think Jake Shields found this and reposted it. So, this was from January. I posted this. And I think it had like 400 likes, and then it took off again because a bunch of big accounts found it and reposted it. So again, it's just, stuff that we've known about, we've been talking about, and now it's just resurfacing because it's a hot issue again. And so this is the testimony of Maria Farmer, who was the first victim of Epstein to come forward. And she reveals how this is like all the private places that meet were like, and especially I think the country club she talks about, how they're like these Jewish supremacist groups that they didn't allow non-Jews in.
Wasn't allowed to go get food. And when I called Ghislaine and asked why I couldn't eat there, she said, it's a Jewish country club. You're not Jewish. They're not going to serve you. This is how this woman spoke to me. Yeah. This is how these people think, Whitney. They, honest to God, think DNA is better than everybody else's. I swear to you. It was a theme all the time with them. With Eileen Guggenheim, with, Jeffrey Epstein, with Ghislaine. It was a theme. Jeffrey was a lot less horrible than Ghislaine as far as a human being, like just being around, because she was raping just as many children.
So the country club, you weren't allowed to go because it was only for...
Why is there two people talking?
People of a certain religion, ethnicity. Okay, so
yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, they could cut you down, and it was so morally devastating. Like,
okay, so it's a Jewish exclusive country club that non-Jews were not served, or they were not allowed in. Maybe
you just felt useless as a human being when you were told you're nothing because you're not Jewish, you're stupid,
Well, you should see what their texts say about you. They're just following what the what their religion teaches.
A useless white girl, a poor little peasant. Just the things that I was called. I was just like,
interesting. Why would they call her white girl if they're seemingly white? Huh? That's an interesting admission there.
Because it was like a cult. The problem. Yeah, you wouldn't believe the way Jeffrey and Ghislaine spoke about Africa. It was like, it made my skin crawl. Anybody who was not Jewish, and you're right about this, but the way they spoke about them, it was really horrifying. And it showed me a great deal about how these people truly believe.
Wow.
That they're chosen to do something here.
So they got him rubbing his hands. No. Oh man. Dershowitz was I've heard some stories about Dershowitz. Of course it's hearsay because none of this stuff's like properly documented, but there was some eyewitnesses apparently that saw some of the stuff he was getting into on the island, because he frequented Epstein Island. He was one of the he was there more than Clinton. And this guy is, still in the public spotlight. He's on Fox News all the time. So I mean, he very there's a lot of implications about Dershowitz.
I don't know. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, and it was every one of them, the way they spoke. And one time I heard Isabel say to her mother, Eileen, "Mommy, why do you call Maria a nobody?" And she said, "Honey, Isabel, Maria is not a Jew. She is a nobody."
Well, it is worth
so you can see why for about 20 years.
That type of stuff I might actually include just because the Maxwell family have
you should include it.
You should include it. What's it called? Chabad Lubavitch. And
when I
sorry. Chabad Lubavitch name dropped there.
Well, it is worth
so you can see why for about 20 years.
That type of stuff I might actually include just because the Maxwell family have
you should include it. You should include it.
What's it called? Chabad Lubavitch.
Okay, so I guess that's a reporter, and she just said that the Maxwell family has ties to Chabad Lubavitch. So that's another rabbit hole right there.
And
and this image right here, by the way, is I know it's really blurry. This is just really sketchy footage. But you can see, high-res photos of this. This is Chabad Lubavitch hovering over George Bush Sr. as he signs Noahide laws into U.S. law. The Noahide laws, of course, have it involves establishing these rabbinical courts that impose the 7 laws of Noahide. The first one being an indictment against idolatry, which implicates Christians. As you know, they believe that we are writers for worshiping Christ, who they believe is a false god. And the 7th Noahide law involves it basically justifies the execution of those who break the first Noahide law. And here is here's an image of that being signed into U.S. law. I don't know to what degree, and if that's even in place anymore, but that happened. That happened Bush Senior. So there they are hovering over. And by the way, there's let me see if I can actually pull up a better resolution photo of this. Because there's actually a Masonic symbol in there too. Yeah, okay, here's the photo. This is a better image of it. This video's over anyway. Hang on one sec. So this is, you can see there the hand, the hidden hand, which is a Masonic gesture. Maybe his hand's just cold. Maybe he just does that. But I mean, who knows? Just photo. I mean, looking at the camera. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that's a Masonic gesture. Doesn't mean everyone that does that at any point is like, it doesn't mean once you put your hand in your jacket like that, you're a Freemason. That's not what I'm saying, but very suspicious. That's all. So yeah, there they are. I mean, there's a bunch of photos with Trump like that too. Just hovered over Trump at his desk as he's signing some policy that favors them. So yeah, I mean, that's something. The Epstein ties to Mossad is like, there's a ton of stuff. I've been archiving links for that. Maybe that would be like a whole separate stream, because that there's a lot of content with that topic. So here we have another member of the tribe, trying to tell everyone, like, stop obsessing with Epstein, stop noticing. It's Mark Levin.
We can't waste our time on Epstein and other stuff that are going on here that some people want us to focus on. I'm about had it with all that stuff. We better focus on who we are, what we're doing, where we want to take the country, and what they want to do to the country.
Well,
Mr.
hey, bro,
Speaker,
we don't want PDF files running the country. So, I mean, I think that's like a pretty good thing to focus on. Before we move forward, it's like, can we at least figure out if maybe at least our president is one of those people? I don't know. Seems pretty important. I don't know. That's just me. Who am I? Who am I to say? I'm not Mark Levin, but Vey, stop. I wish we'd stop talking about the fact that there's global elites in a massive PDF filing. I wish we'd stop talking about that and focus on more important stuff like who we are as a country. Yeah, okay. I think that's all I've got for Epstein-related links. Again, I'm probably not the guy to go to for that kind of stuff. There's 1,000 other creators who are on the scene with that kind of thing. They've been covering it in great depth and detail for much longer than I have. But, we're going to keep our eye on that, I guess, at least in the sphere of the geopolitical implications of it. What else do we have here? So, okay, some discourse in mainstream debate over Israel, which has been ongoing for 2 years. And I guess more recently, it's just kind of entered the public, the greater public discourse now. So we have Tucker Carlson kind of undergoing this awakening where he's now bringing on guests who are very outspoken anti-Zionist. He just recently had Daryl Cooper, Martyr Made, as a guest, who, by the way, I'm gaining on, at least on Substack, in the rising category for history. I at some point I'm going to probably, maybe very briefly surpass him, but I will, like, I just, for some reason, that would be huge. Like and I love Martyr Made. I mean, that would be, it wouldn't be like a competitive thing. I just think it'd be cool. That's all. But I'm glad to see that he's even getting platformed and talking about this topic on a huge platform such as Tucker. And so now he's brought on Anna Kasparian, who has always been anti-Zionist and been very outspoken against that, and recently had kind of like an adoption or like a character arc, like into, you know, more distance in conservative circles. And, you know, I guess kind of like this outcast of those at this point. I don't know. I guess she had it. I remember like watching that whole thing happen, and she started to really just start getting red pilled and stuff. And so now she's on Tucker, and this is like a 7-minute clip. I don't know if we should watch this whole thing, but is there anything worth? Apparently it's a good episode. I mean, even just for Tucker to start bringing this up and, you know, platforming these people is just like, it's really breaking the Overton window. So more people like, you know, the boomer conservatives who are only seeing Fox News, which is a mouthpiece for the Israeli government at this point, or I guess they've always been. You know, we're starting to see some alternate narratives being brought into that space. So, you know, if a bunch of these people continued following Tucker, they're now being exposed to this.
Deny what's happening in the West Bank, you know, not just in regard to Palestinians, Palestinian Muslims, but also Palestinian Christians. You can't deny the fact that that one and only Catholic church in Gaza was bombed, you know, was attacked. You can't deny the fact that churches have been targeted in the West Bank as well. Like, people can lie to us as much as they want. Videos are out there.
How do you blow up a church if you've got munitions, laser-guided munitions that are so sophisticated that they can take out, you know, a guy in an SUV from 30,000 feet? How do you blow up a church with a giant cross on it?
Because they targeted it. That's, I mean, you could see the photos, like the photos of the church talking about, they had already presumably bombed the church, and it looks like a tank tried to fire us and missed it, because you can see the big, you know, the like you can see like the mortar and stuff like from the cannon that fired at the or I don't know if it was a missile or something, but it took out a big chunk at the top of the church. It was clearly fired at from, you know, the perspective of like they were aiming at the cross and they missed it. So it's like they're targeting the churches. That's just all there is to it.
It was just an Tucker. It was an accident.
Like it's not the first church.
No, it's not. And it wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident.
But what is the answer? Can anyone get an answer?
I know the answer. Israel wants a Jewish state, and they want to expand. They have something known as the Greater Israel Project. They intend to annex the whole of the West Bank. In fact, Miriam Adelson legally bribed Donald Trump to ensure it happens. And
yep, and I covered that on a previous stream, how Sheldon Adelson, who recently passed away, but the Adelson family, they were Trump's biggest donor. So, and Sheldon Adelson actually was encouraging bombing Iran. He had been for years. So, you know, his wishes come true, I guess, from beyond the grave.
Israel announced that that's what they're going to do, and they're doing it. When it comes to Gaza, I mean, Hamas is so dumb because the atrocities they committed on October 7th gave Netanyahu and the Israeli government the perfect excuse to essentially do what they've always wanted to do, which is take that land. They're going to take that land. That's what they want. They're going to ethnically cleanse whatever remains of the Palestinian people. They're going to force neighboring countries probably to absorb 2 million people. And then at the same time, they're going to have settlers on in, rebuild Gaza. Jared Kushner, by the way, soon after October 7th happened, was like salivating on camera about how that's prime real estate. It's disgusting. But anyway.
How can you move 2 million people right now?
Well, there was a story published this week, I believe it was in the New York Times, where Netanyahu And the Israeli government was in talks with our government in regard to getting aid from the United States in moving Palestinians out of Gaza.
Oh.
So when they bomb the church, it's because they don't want the church. That land is supposed to be Jewish.
You're not
state.
allowed to use my tax dollars to bomb churches.
Well, that's what they're doing.
I'll put up with a lot of stuff, but I think
You can say they're not allowed all you want, but they're going to. There's nothing you can do about it. You're not. This isn't something that you can vote away. So that's why people are outraged. That's one of the reasons people are outraged is you can't vote this away. This is not something that it's like, oh, if we just had the right president. No, you're not going to get an anti-Zionist presidential candidate in the United States. Not going to happen. Maybe I'm black-pilled, but I mean, can you guys see that happening? I certainly can't. The Israel lobby is just way too powerful.
think that's, and I've said this 100 times, let me say it again. I don't understand how any Christian leader in the United States can sit by and not say something about that. And Mike Huckabee, who has been a pretty slavish, devotee of the state of Israel, and I don't mean that as a compliment, he's a very nice man, but I disagree with him strongly. Even Mike Huckabee came out and said, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
You can't kill Christians.
And American citizens.
Yeah. But I don't understand why that's not. I mean, if that's not a red line, then there's no red line.
I mean, I think it should definitely be a red line. But let me just say, Mike Huckabee made a statement, and that's nice. It's more than Biden was. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Are you going to cut funding?
Nope.
Are you going to stop sending over the 2,000-pound bombs that are destroying people's homes, universities, churches, refugee camps, hospitals? I mean, Gaza's leveled. Deir al-Balah is like the last remaining portion of Gaza that still has some structures that people can live in. And they're currently doing a ground invasion there. They got to destroy it, of course. So obvious what's happening. And it's so unjust. And this is the area where, what democracy? I have no power. The government's going to take part of my earnings that I worked really hard for, not to help my fellow American citizens who might need health care, who might have fallen on hard times and can't feed their families and need help, food assistance. It's not going to go to them. It's going to go toward the bombs that are terrorizing people in Gaza, the West Bank. By the way, it's going to expand than that. I mean, they've already annexed part of Syria. The Syria war, that proxy war, it was a proxy war for a reason. Turkey wanted to have influence and control over the area where the Kurds are at. Obviously, Israel wanted to annex portions of it, and they've been doing it ever since Assad fell. And you have a former al-Qaeda leader as the current leader of Syria, who's trying to capitulate to Israel, but obviously enough because Israel's still bombing the crap out of Syria. It's unbelievable. I have no ability to change it. It seems like the electorate in this country have no ability to change it because it doesn't matter which party you vote for, whether it's a Democratic presidential candidate or a Republican presidential candidate, they're going to get elected.
So that's what I mean. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just saying. You're not going to vote this away. You're going to get it either way. It's just like, how bad are you going to get effed? So, more stuff here. Let me go back to that here. Let's check on the chat. I don't know what's going on in the chat there with this, like, religion is built on enslavement. Okay, bro, listen, man, this is a religious YouTube channel, so I'm not sure. I think maybe you're lost or you're just not sure what's going on, but that kind of thing's not going to get you far here. So I'm not sure what you're on about. It sounds like some atheistic libertarian type nonsense. So we also have let's see here. Oh, this was epic as well. Anna Kasparian. That's the same link. Did I not have that link? Okay, hopefully it's this one. I had the wrong link. All right, I have my links mixed up, but I wanted to go to this too. I'll go back to this. I wanted to find, let me see, maybe I'll just have to search for it. This was going viral as well. And a Kasparian completely obliterated this this Zion. I don't know what this guy's deal is, like why he is important at all, but I mean, he spoke at the RNC. He's just I guess he's just a Zog shill or something. I mean, his name is literally Shabos. Shabos Krestenbaum or something like that. And so they brought him on Pierce, you know, so we've got more blood sports here. And Anna just tears him a new one.
They have provided more aid into Gaza post-October 7th than pre-October, something I'm very proud of. And if you believe that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is not doing enough...
The fact that they shoot at people as they're waiting in line for humanitarian aid. Dozens of people get shot and killed literally every single day. Every single day as they're waiting for food. No, I'm not going to let you filibuster, bitch. I'm not going to let you filibuster. I'm not going to let you filibuster. You guys are totally okay with IDF soldiers shooting and killing desperate people waiting for humanitarian aid. You're okay with that. I find it so unbelievably evil. Unbelievably evil. It shocks my conscience and my soul that people as evil as this exist in this world. Okay? Watching these images, looking at these videos, seeing all these kids desperate, hungry, parentless, trapped in Gaza. And you're sitting here and you're defending it. I can't stand it. I can't listen to it. The filibustering is unbearable. It's unbearable.
And what I tell you what,
I can't take. Let me watch all those kids die.
Okay, let me bring Gideon back in here.
Will you call on Hamas right now to surrender and release the hostages? Do it. Do it right now. Say, I
called out Hamas. I called out Hamas from the very beginning. I've got no love for Hamas. It's a terrorist organization. What they did was wrong.
So this is what they do to deflect. It's always this dialect. Oh, but Hamas. So, and look at that smirk. Disgusting gremlin. I feel her passion. And they're all saying like, oh, she crashed out. Like, no, this is justified rage because these people are disgusting, genocidal freaks. So, and look at that smug face. That's his response. Like, not like, oh yeah, I renounce like all the killing of innocent women and children. They'll never do that. Why don't they ever do that? Why don't they ever say, yeah, you know, I stand with Israel, but I think they should maybe like scale back all this killing of innocents and children. Like why don't they ever say that? It's just a wholesale agreement with everything that Israel's doing. And there's religious justification for that too, by the way. Because they're in their religion, they're justified and they're not even viewed as humans. It's not even just Palestinians. Palestinians are just like in their territory that they're trying to control, but they could be anyone else and they would view them the same way because they're non-Jews. So they view these people as animals and not humans. And so it applies to the women and children too. It's not just men. So that's why they're violating international law by doing that, because it's by their religion. It's just gross. And then you got this what's his name, Moishe Chestenbaum or whatever, just smirking like that, and people wonder why there's so much like rage around this issue, because this is the response. This is the person on the other side of these debates that occur online where you can't see the person's face. Like, this is what they're doing. They're grinning and smiling. It's so evil.
I cried over the atrocities that they engaged in on October 7th. But you know what's so disgusting? You want to? Yes, I did. You should watch The Young Turks. You'll see exactly what I had to say about Hamas after October 7th. I even trashed elements of the left who refused to criticize Hamas for what they did. Okay,
that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You got to stand with Israel. You got to wave the Molech flag. It's not good enough, Anna. Sorry. That's why I'm smirking.
Have a leg to stand on when it comes to that issue.
Okay, you made that clear.
But you can't on one hand. All right. You can't on one hand talk about the injustice of what Hamas did and then turn around and say it's okay if Israel does it times 1,000.
Okay. Good for her. I stan Anna Kasparian. If she keeps doing that kind of stuff, I stan. And she will, because she's been doing that for years. Even on the Young Turks, like she's always been a strong anti-Zionist. I mean, I think this happened because she actually visited Gaza. She was like on the ground doing a report, and she saw all this stuff happening. This was years ago, before, you know, October 7th, right? So she's been aware of this for a long time. We've also got, okay, so on, this is, and by the way, this is the guy that was smirking. I found this because I remembered watching the RNC, and I was cracking up when I saw this because of how he introduced himself. But this is the guy, Shabbos Krestenbaum or whatever.
My name is Shabbos Kestenbaum. I am a proud first-generation American. I am a proud Orthodox Jew. And as of 5 months ago, I am the proud plaintiff suing Harvard University for its failure to combat anti-Semitism.
It's like one of those Jewish things I've ever seen. So yeah, I mean that's who we're dealing with there. That guy smirking. More in the realm of Zionism. Another, you know, these clips, I get these all the time on my feed. And you know, this is Keith Woods. He posted a thread on, and I've covered this before, but it, you know, this is a much more in-depth coverage here. And you can read more about this in the book, Against Our Better Judgment, which we read recently in the Reversion Book Club a couple months ago, which is about the history, the hidden history of how the U.S. formed this relationship with Israel, and how now it's, you know, our greatest ally. So it goes through the whole history. I mean, it's a grand conspiracy, and the book has, I mean, more citations and footnotes than it does primary text. So it's heavily cited, very well researched, and there's a whole chapter on how the state of Israel was founded on terrorism. And one of the terrorists, by the way, that was behind the, what was it, the King David Hotel bombing, ended up becoming the prime minister of Israel. I'm sure I didn't even read the whole thread, but I would imagine he covers that here. So yeah, I'm not going to like read through this whole thing, but great thread. You know, just going through all the acts of terrorism. I think, was this him? Menachem Begin. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Menachem Begin is his name. So he was the prime minister of Israel, and he was involved in, or he planned the bombing of the King David Hotel, which led to the deaths of 91 people. So he planned the bombing, and he ended up being the prime minister. Just insane. I mean, this is a completely genocidal state from the start. Like, this wasn't something that like later on. Like, it started out founded on terrorism. So you can see all that stuff there. And also a great, I mean, look, this isn't conspiracy, guys. Like, this is you can look at these old newspapers. There they are. It's all right there. This isn't like theory. This isn't speculation. Look at that headline. Can you imagine seeing that headline today? Jewish terrorist, anything with those two words in it. That's crazy. You won't even see a headline like that. Those two words together. Here's a video of them, of some, okay, well, instead of explaining this, let me just play it. So this is, I guess, former, you know, Israeli soldiers kind of having this mask off moment.
בלי נקיפת מצפון. הרגת, אז עשית דבר טוב. הייתי מוכן להרוג. אני אספר לה שאני הייתי רוצח.
laughing. So evil. Interesting. Like cows. What does the Talmud call non-Jews? So another, interesting admission there, or maybe purely coincidence, maybe.
מישהו ירים ידיים, משהו כזה. לא לקחתי שבויים. כמה אתה חושב אנשים הרגת ככה? לא ספרתי. לא יכול לדעת בחיי.
הוא תפס אישה, חתיכה צעירה, נכנס לבית אחד, הכין חדר מיטות, עם מיטה, פרטה על זה.
הילדה חזרה סמרטוטיה.
אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה. אבל זה מכוער מאוד, היה לנו בחור אחד, הוא נפטר, הוא היה פרא אדם, הוא לקח פשוט מאוד ורצח אותם בתוך המכלאות. חוטי ברזל כאלה, עגולים כאלה, אספו כל הגברים. הם יושבים שם כולם על הרצפה, ובא מישהו ולוקח תת מקלע ומתחיל זה, מחליף מחסנית, שלקחו את הלוויורים ורדפו אחרי חבר'ה ושרפו אותם. זה היה משהו זוועתי, וזה אסור לספר, אני לא אדבר על זה. מלחמה זה מלחמה.
How could you even laugh about, like, even, no matter who the enemy is, like, that should traumatize you. Like, how could you be laughing about that? That's so sick. That's just so, that's from the pit of hell. That's so evil. Talking about flame, like that, oh, I cooked him alive, and he's laughing. So evil. And the thing is, like, we're starting to see now, because of the translations, that you can do these auto translates on these tweets. Like, people, I mean, it's like a meme at this point, how you can just go on the Israeli side of Twitter where they're all posting in Hebrew and see what they're saying when you translate it, and it's like, it kind of reflects a lot of the sentiment. It's like very evil. They're rejoicing and celebrating the killing of these innocent people. And this is kind of the same thing. It's like, this is meant for a Jewish audience. They're speaking in Hebrew, and and now this stuff's being translated now, and we're seeing what they really think. We've got another. Hang on a sec. Another moment from Tucker. I don't know if this was or how long ago it was. So, people just post these videos. I wish there was some more context here. Oh, this was at Turning Point. Okay, so this was recent. I think maybe earlier this month he spoke at Turning Point. And it says, well, I'll just play it because I think he's just quoting the video here.
You can only really pledge your loyalty to one person or one country. This fact. And there's also a sense, and this is relevant to me, and I know you're speaking about Israel, but it's not just Israel, to be honest. I think it's a huge problem. I think anybody, by the way, who serves in a foreign military should lose his citizenship immediately. There are a lot of Americans who've served in the IDF. They should lose their citizenship. There's a lot of Americans who've served in Ukraine, and they should. You can't fight for another country and remain an American, period. You can only really pledge your loyalty to one person.
Yeah, but you can have dual citizenship with Israel and run the country, though, apparently. I'd like to see him start. I mean, he kind of was, like, his interview with Ted Cruz was, it seemed like he was at least aware of that and concerned about the lobbying. So I'm sure that's something he's aware of. But, you can only expect so much from Turning Point. I mean, that's a completely Zionist organization. More on that note, there was a bizarre struggle session from Charlie Kirk during one of his events that he started talking about Israel and Zionism. I don't know what this is. This is a very bizarre thing. I don't know what's going on here. It's like a round table with like some random maybe viewers or something. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Or I guess maybe it's at a college. Charlie Kirk just hosted a struggle session with teenagers to get them to admit they aren't anti-Semitic Jew haters. They are trying so hard to put a lid on the noticing and control the narrative, but it's already too late. Yeah. So now, yeah, it's like now organizations like Turning Point, Daily Wire, it's like, well, I don't know about Daily Wire, but Charlie Kirk, like guys like this, they're having to try to like, to a degree, they have to acknowledge this discourse. This is what young people are talking about now. And they also have to control it to an extent. So they're going to, I think their time's limited. I think, this is only going to get worse for them. And it's already collapsing in on them. Like this is unavoidable.
Yeah. Does that resonate?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. You're not anti-Israel. You don't wish them harm. You're not, like cheering on Iran.
No, I support Israel.
So again, more of that dialectic that it's like, if you're anti, the U.S. funding the genocide in Israel, you're pro-Iran or you're pro-Hamas. People are reading especially the younger generation, they're reading right through that. They're not buying that at all. And they're also, you're going to see in this clip that they're no longer, they're realizing what this charge of anti-Semitism implies. It's the same as racism. It's the same as saying like, it's just worn out. Like they're not buying it anymore. They're not afraid of that charge anymore. That is the most, that for this whole time, that's been the most effective way to censor these conversations, is to just slander the person as an anti-Semite. Now that's losing its power very quickly. The younger generation does not care about this. And by the way, Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL has mentioned this before. He said that he fears, this is why they're like, the battleground is over social media right now, because he said that he's like certain that it's going to be, the younger generation is like the most anti-Semitic generation that we've seen since like before World War II. It's because they're losing their ability to censor and control this. So, and it's like, it's actually out of control on pretty much all the platforms that I'm exposed to any degree. Instagram is like insane how much I get people, some people like they send me posts. I don't really go on Instagram, but they'll send me posts from Instagram and I'm like, whoa, how is it? This is crazy. Like I couldn't have imagined when I was more active on Instagram seeing this kind of stuff. So it's just recent. It's the same, it's kind of cutting with X, right? It's like, you're just seeing all this content. It's so much now that they can't control it. They can't censor it anymore. So they have no other choice to basically let it go. And it's like, there's so much of it that if they were to censor it, it would just basically like validate everything, it would cause a big uproar.
I think there are allies. I want them.
But you would be called an anti-Semite by some people for saying this.
And I think that's ridiculous. I don't hate Jews because I think a nation should defend themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Too late to turn back. What's going on, man? Why are we, what's that about? Why are we talking about Jay Dye and insulting people here for no reason? I didn't even notice how nobody even brought that up. Is that just something you felt like you had to come in here and like, do you feel like that's an argument against something? I mean, that's just very bizarre, man. I think you got the wrong stream.
Like, I the most ridiculous thing ever.
I feel like it's becoming like the word racism. Like we just disagree with them, so we just have to call them a name. I don't think they're actually anti-Semitic. I think people just can't agree with them and they can't prove them wrong. So they just throw a word out and be like, you're anti-Semitic because you think that we should stop sending our money there.
Something that I see amongst the people I'm around, I do see more like general disdain towards, just being honest, Jewish people.
That's correct.
Just because they're constantly being told that you hate Jews. And it's like, fine. If you're going to say I hate Jews over and over and over again, like if I'm going to be convicted of the crime, I might as well do the crime. I fear the same thing happens with all the talk of, the more we talk about it, the more we bring it up, the more racism actually happens.
This is like, I try to tell, thank you for.
What was that face he just made? What a bizarre, his face. How do you describe his face? He looks like a claymation or something. That was so creepy. Of course. Oh, yeah, silly.
talk about it, the more we bring it up, the more racism actually happens.
This is like I try to tell. Thank you for saying this. Like, because like this is I try to tell these people, and they're like, we must get more aggressive. And so like, let me ask a question. If we were to remove, like, if people said what Tucker said is anti-Semitic, I don't hold that view. But it's like a lot of people on Twitter are like calling us out and like whatever. That's not going to happen. But if we were to cancel Tucker, would anti-Semitism increase or decrease?
I think increase, because that means any supporter of Tucker Carlson's statement therefore makes them anti-Semite.
Guilt and association, 100%.
Exactly.
But the binary that's presented.
But that, okay, so this is something that I don't hear talked about often. And I don't, I've seen this quote, and it may be one of these quotes that we don't know who it's actually attributed to. I've seen it attributed to, what's his name? Theodore Herzl. And it's basically, and it's like, it's almost one of these quotes that like, you don't even need to know that if it's legit or not. It's like, it just makes sense. But it's like about how when anti-Semitism is increasing, the Jewish identity becomes more prominent. It becomes more strong, like it becomes stronger. So you'll see like when there's a rise in anti-Semitism, it coincides with the rise of like Jewish pride, like I'm a proud Jew. You see all these people coming out. I'm a proud Jew. I'm a proud Zionist, all this stuff. And that's probably, I would say that's true. And I don't really care if it's a real quote or not. It's more just like a pervasive truth that we can observe. Right. So basically, with this, like labeling everything anti-Semitic and broadening the scope of what constitutes anti-Semitism, that is like, they actually, in a weird way, kind of want that, because it's like it victimizes them, and it makes their identity stronger. It unifies them more. It's like how ingrained in the Jewish identity is like exile and persecution. Like, what would they do without it? It's almost like they kind of need it, like in a weird way, So I don't see even that as being like something that's like completely contrary to what I don't know. I'm speaking very broadly here. I realize that, but that's just something I wanted to comment on there.
Is that if you don't passionately talk about it, you will later. That's probably destructive for everybody involved. So for me, I'm trying to find this new path, which is I love Israel. My wife and I had the best experiences ever. I saw where Jesus rose from the dead and he walked on water. But also I'm an American, and I represent a generation that can't afford anything, and that we are like flooded with illegals, and no one speaks English, and our hospitals are clogged. I think we need to have the prudence to reject the Jew hate. Like, okay, we're not going to put up with that. That's dumb. But also, if you call
but what does that mean, though? Like what I just said, he might constitute as quote hate. That's the thing, is like they're using all this language that the left uses of like hate speech. They're just adopting this idea of hate speech and applying it to this particular group. No one's going to ever tell you what quote Jew hate means. What does that, what does that constitute? Of course, there's no way of like providing a whole list or whatever, but then that's the problem. It's like, it's such a loose definition. Everyone has their own individual understanding of it. It's like, are we going to play these games now that we've been doing with all this newspeak on the left?
An anti-Semite, if they don't take a puritanical view of the Netanyahu government, then I think it's bad for everybody.
So would you guys all basically safe to say welcome us not talking about Israel nearly as much?
Yeah. You guys keep talking about it. Everyone's talking about it because you guys keep talking about it. That's what they don't realize. It's being shoved down our throat. Turn on any mainstream conservative news network. It's Israel first. That's why that is like being discussed. They're inviting the discussion, and they're, oh guys, come on. Like as soon as it's critical, it's like, guys, can we just like not talk about Israel so much? Can we all agree to not talk about Israel so much? Okay, you guys start. How about that? start talking about the US and not Israel. But they can't do that. So that was a very weird, yeah, like a struggle session. That was a good description of it. What else do we have here? So I guess we'll get into more of like, yeah, I think I covered everything there for the main topics. Well, we can get into some more of like just, non-important kind of discourse that's been occurring this week. I guess we can start here. I mean, I already did a stream about, it wasn't really about Ozzy, but I actually planned to do a stream about rock music, metal and stuff. And then it just so happened that Ozzy died the day after I had planned the stream. And so that just kind of, I don't want to say worked out, but that's just what happened. So I did a stream on that. And I was talking about how we should not be so, like, when these celebrities die, there's like a weird thing where everyone's trying to figure out like if they were Christian or how Christian they were, if they're in heaven or not. It's like very bizarre. I don't know why we get involved in that. Because we don't really know. We don't know what happened on their deathbed. Like, we don't know what happened. I mean, and I don't think we should be assuming. So, but there's a weird, so like with this, it's, we had Ozzy Osbourne die, and then like the next day, the Hulkster dies, and there's all these really just cold tier posts about it. And this was from anonymous account who, if you remember back in the, I guess, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, account was like, expose, it was like a whistleblower type thing. It was like exposing, like releasing leaks and documents. It was kind of like WikiLeaks LARP type of thing. Like, I don't know what happened, but apparently I heard this a few years back that apparently the account was bought by some Redditor. And so now it's basically just like a, woke account. And so this is just a really like Reddit take. It's like, oh, Ozzy's in heaven, but Hulk is in hell because he said the N-word that one time in a private conversation that was leaked. So he's clearly in hell. And like these people don't even believe in heaven and hell. So it's just like, it's just such cold bait. Oh, he's a racist. Oh, so he committed the unpardonable sin of being a racist. But you could be. So this is what I said. This was my, it's got 10K likes now. In the gospel according to Reddit, decades of drug abuse and adultery are forgivable, but saying a no word sends you directly to hell. It's like, this is really their thinking. And it's like, there were some good comments. It's like, like they let's see if I can find, I saw someone had a really good comment on this. A bunch of people were like, "Oh, you think they both work?" No, that's not what I'm saying, retard. Heaven and hell are made. It's just like really, anytime something goes viral, you just see how much of this platform is like a bunch of brainlets. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I didn't know this, but apparently Ozzy killed 12 cats with a shotgun. It's like, all right, that's horrible, but also that doesn't send you to hell. Like, it's just so retarded that like these people don't understand anything about how like Christianity works. Like, they just make up this stuff and they're like, oh, I don't believe in heaven or hell, but when somebody who dies that someone dies that I don't like, then they're, then hell is real and they go there. So you can see that they all, like, even though they reject that there's a hell, they like want there to be some kind of place of judgment for people they don't like in the afterlife. So really, you can tell it really makes them uncomfortable to think that they might share the same fate as a horrible racist. So yeah, I mean, this isn't really that, I would say, worth talking about. I just wanted to cover it because, there's all this talk about like where these people go when they die. ever thinks about that for themselves, right? It's like, oh, when a celebrity dies that I don't like, though, then, or one that dies that I do like, then it's time to start thinking about where they're going in the afterlife. You know, it's so, that's how twisted we are as a society. It's like, how about you do that for you? What if you did that for yourself? Thought about, I deserve hell because I've done all these bad things. What if you started thinking for yourself instead of like, I have to wait and see which celebrity dies so I can make a determination on where I think they might go in an afterlife I don't believe in. It's so retarded. So yeah, not much to talk about there. What else do we have? Oh, there's this is kind of funny. A criminal dressed up as Chuck E. Cheese and got arrested in front of a bunch of kids that were horrified. That's really it. There's not much more to the story there. This is stuff like I don't even repost this kind of stuff. It's like I don't know, but good laugh there. You got criminals now finding refuge in Chuck E. Cheese mascots. There's also, okay, this is getting a little more interesting here. Well, I mean, we know this is all fake and gay, but just in possibly hostile aliens threat detected, unknown interstellar object, New York Post reports. New York Post is always reporting on this nonsense. Like this is just nothing. But it's like you have to ask, like, what is the point of this? Like, what are they trying to, like, why is this a story? A mysterious intergalactic object. Like they just say that stuff. What is an intergalactic object? What does that even mean? Mysterious intergalactic object could potentially be a hostile alien. This is not a story. Somebody saw something with a telescope, and then the rest is complete fairy tale stuff. Slated to attack our planet. How do you know? How do you know it's going to attack our planet in November? How do you know all that? Oh, a small study by a group of scientists determined that. That's science for you. That's modern science. There's literally groups of scientists trying to determine where this random unidentified object that was identified in a telescope, what its intentions are, and it's going to arrive here. It's clearly hostile towards Earth, and it's going to come and nuke us all. And they're clearly hostile. How do you know they're hostile? How do you know that? So it's like I'm completely certain nothing's going to happen with this. It's just like, because you see this happen. If you pay attention to these reports like this happens all the time. Like at least once a month, there's some kind of retarded news headline that involves like, oh, there's an alien spaceship that's going to, and what I'm more concerned with is like, why is this being used as a headline? Like, what's the purpose in that? Because all these, all these news outlets, it's like they're clickbait, right? Especially the New York Post. It's a lot of it is clickbait. And so why is that? Like, I'm more interested in like, why is that clickbait? Even if it's completely fake, like they're just, it more so tells me that there's an acknowledgement by the media that there is this like existential fear of some kind of alien attack or some alien communication. We also had, we're getting into some Protestant slop posting that I don't plan to spend too much time on here, but I think this will actually the reason I want to bring this up, it's not about that. It's more about like, I think this was, this raises an interesting discussion and something that I've heard extensively in my work. So it's not really about like, oh, this is coal or something, but it's all the Protestants are, up because Tucker had Charlie Kirk on, and they were talking about how proud they are that America is a Protestant country. And so, you know, we'll let this play, and I'll just share some comments on that. You guys probably already maybe know how I feel about that.
It's a Protestant spirit. I mean, let's just get
Protestant
of course, let's just get really honest about it. It's the people who founded the country were Protestants. I'm as pro-Catholic as anyone could be. My best friends are Catholic. I'm
Calvinist too.
Not against Catholics at all. I love Catholics. However, this country is founded by Protestants because they think for themselves, and they're the legacy. You know, they're the heirs of Martin Luther, who took on, you know, the 1500-year-old church by himself.
Totally.
You know, they are people who believe they communicate directly with God, that their conscience is more important than federal law, and they're really hard to deal with. And so you have to destroy them first. And they did.
Well, they're not done yet. There's still a lot. And that's.
Well, I know some.
Well,
I am one.
And but by the way, even the young men that are currently doing right now.
It's a Protestant spirit. I mean, let's just
that was it. But I don't deny that it's a Protestant country. It's like, okay, now are we going to also say that the founders who were Freemasons and adopted this like syncretic form of Christianity that was, you know, involved, you know, these esoteric faiths, these like, you know, Kabbalah and Hermeticism and like alchemy and all this wild stuff that they were involved in, that they brought with them from 17th century England. Are we prepared to acknowledge that those are Protestants then? So like, that's basically my argument is like, or my question rather is like, are we going to include those Puritans who brought with them this corrupted form of Christianity by syncretizing it with like all these, you know, these Jewish texts? Are we prepared to call them Protestants? If so, I agree that that America was founded on Protestantism. It's like, which denomination? Well, it depends where in America you're talking about. Yeah, not all of them were Freemasons. A lot of them were. A majority of the founders that signed the Constitution were they also Protestant? Was it found on Protestant principles if they were Freemasons? So my simple thing is like, well, if we're going to say that those were Protestants, I'll agree with you. Then we can then what's going to happen is we're going to broaden the scope of what it means to be Protestant. Then you could also be Protestant and Freemason at the same time. Okay, I'll agree with that. I'll also agree if you want to say that those aren't Protestants. Well, then you have to say that America was not founded on, like totally was not founded on Protestantism. There was like some Protestants that were involved in the founding of America. That's all. You either say that those Freemasons were Protestants, or that it was founded on Protestantism and these Enlightenment secret societies, these Enlightenment principles that, you know, deism and all the liberalism and all this stuff, like, and you're saying about it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'll go with either narrative, because look at where it's gotten us. Either way. So you want to attribute the downfall, like the moral, this moral corruption that we're in currently? Do you want to attribute that to the great principles that this country was founded on? All these great Enlightenment principles, all this, this freedom and individual liberty. If it led to that, are you okay with that? So that's it. I think I commented on this too. Well, here was this is a Protestant I call them coal posters, or some people call them prot slop. It's just like extremely low IQ, like Protestant apologetics that involves like attacking Roman Catholics all day. Like that's all they do is like, attack the Theotokos and like all these like, Catholic beliefs and stuff. And they're just really low tier people that shouldn't even be posting. Like this is what are you doing? Where's your husband? Your Christian wife and mother. Where's your husband? Get off the internet. Stop acting like you're an authority on the Bible. That's all these people do is like they're armchair theologians, and they think that they have these large followings because they post, rage bait, and Like, what are you doing? So her husband needs to take the phone away from her. Log off. Anyway, there was this reply here. Oh God, this hurts. Like I apologize for exposing you guys to this. Jesus was the first Protestant in the truest sense of the word. Jesus was the first Protestant. This is what this is what these people like. This is what they do. These are the takes they come up with. He directly protested the man-made traditions of his day, standing firm on the authority of God's written word, like the New Testament that wasn't even written. A man-made tradition. So they just think anything that the Pharisees did is like what was Pharisees equals man-made tradition. Therefore, all traditions are bad. Man, like why say man-made tradition? Why say that? It's basically to belittle that there's also tradition involved with the preservation of the Christian faith. So, oh no, all that stuff's man-made. Well, the scriptures were, there was like tradition, there was man-made tradition involved in even preserving the scriptures that you have. So what does that even mean? It's so cringe. Christ isn't defined by what he protested. Protestantism is entirely defined by what it protested. That's a great comment. That's a great comment. It literally is. And you see these guys prove it because that's all they do all day is they just like counter signal Roman Catholics all day. The thing is based on protest. It's revolution. So that's why I say in my thesis for my book, upcoming book, is that the Protestant Reformation was really a revolution, and it's an ongoing revolution that is it's really the longest ongoing revolution in history. What other revolution has lasted 500 years and gotten stronger as it goes? So the whole thing is grounded in revolution. That's why there's all this like, it's just a reaction against the innovation of Rome. It's just a reaction against, oh, they've gone too far with their Marian veneration. So we better, reduce Theotokos to basically like a special person, but she was a sinner. She wasn't a never virgin and all this blasphemous stuff. So it's all grounded in protest. Oh, there was, this I wanted to play as well, since we're on the topic. This is from Andrew Clavin, another neoconservative Zionist influencer on the Daily Wire. Converso, who's a Protestant, and this is the kind of stuff he says here. So basically the context here is that, and he has a son who's Skittles, and so I guess he's saying that, that there's that actually, it's not so bad, and he's saying that John MacArthur, this very influential Protestant pastor who just died recently, also shared his view, and so we'll go into that a little bit here.
I'll just be honest with you. I feel that nature produces a certain number of gay people, and I basically agree, maybe about 5%.
Okay, so people are actually born Skittles, is what you're saying. So they're born that way. Okay.
I basically agree with Marine Le Pen, the French conservative who said homosexuals are like salt in soup. There aren't enough, it's a bit bland. When there's too much, it's inedible. And she was convicted of hate speech for saying that, but it's obviously the truth. It's the way nature, the world is built. Gives you a little bit of gays in your soup, and it makes it taste better. And I basically believe that people should be left alone, and you should concentrate on your own sins, if indeed that is a sin. But most of you know my brilliant son.
So more of those great Enlightenment principles. Oh, just do as thou wilt. Where's that from? Do as thou wilt. Just leave people alone. Non-aggression principle, right? That should be the governing morality of the country. Is just like, oh, just do as thou wilt. Don't aggress against people. Just leave them alone. That's gotten us really far.
Spencer is gay. A lot of people think that that's why I changed my opinions. I've never changed my opinion on this. I've been working with gay people all my life. And I trust Spencer and I trust other gay people to talk to God, do what God thinks is right in their life. And if they don't talk to God, then,
they don't know what God thinks is right because they're still living in their delusion and they're not repentant. If they knew, if they were in communion with God and they knew what God thought was right and wrong, they would be living in a state of repentance. They wouldn't be, living in degeneracy. But, it's it's like, I guess this has to be said.
That's on them. I can't do anything about that or unless they ask me, and then I'll tell them what I think. So it makes people angry. But John is obviously very strongly opposed and thought you should confront homosexuals about their homosexuality. So here's my story. COVID hit. And my doctor said to me, and I've had my doctor for decades, and he knows me very well. He said, you're a prime target to get killed by this thing because of your age and because you have a bad lung, which I have a collapsed lung because I got pneumonia, wouldn't stop exercising, so my lung is a little broken. So I was more cautious than I felt younger people needed to be, and I'm a writer, and I don't mind being alone, so I was staying home for a little bit longer. But when California Governor Newsom, his headquarters in the French Laundry restaurant where he was dining with no mask with friends, decreed that churches should be shut down, MacArthur, I think, he was not the only one, but he was certainly the largest church stood up to Gavin Newsom.
And to be fair, I have many criticisms of John MacArthur because I think he was a heretic, but I give him credit for that. He was, to my knowledge, one of the few large Protestant churches who stood up against the shutdowns of the churches in California. I give him credit for that, but not so much because he was teaching heresy from that. So it didn't really do much good. It just looked good on paper for, other evangelicals, I guess. And so to be fair, I guess it did set a precedence. Like, aside from all that, it helped to at least kind of set a precedence. It's like, guys, you can just you can literally just oppose them and just say, no, I'm keeping the church open, regardless what you're teaching in there, So I give him some credit for that.
And his church open. He barred the health inspectors, wouldn't let them come in. He fought off petty attacks like giving parking tickets to his parishioners, which they did, and he defied them in spite of being threatened with all kinds of fines and jail. And I had him on my show while he was fighting. I had him with his lawyer, who was my friend Jenna Ellis, and he won that fight. And I just loved him. I talked to him. We had a great discussion, and he radiated faith. I admired the joy that came out of him with his faith, and I knew after I told him that even though my lung is bad, even though I was worried about COVID, I had to go to his church to support him, which my wife wasn't happy about because she feels if I'm going to die, she wants to be the one to kill me. So I go to his church one Sunday with Jenna, and it is packed. It's absolutely packed. I mean, there's overflow, people out in tents and all this stuff. And people recognize me. And so they're shaking my hand and they're kissing me on the cheek. And, and it's the COVID fear. And my doctors told me I'm going to die like that if I get it. And he's an expert, by the way, on these kinds of epidemics. And so I thought, well, everyone has to die sometime. I'm supporting John MacArthur in keeping this open. So someone, it may have been Jenna, but it may have just been one of MacArthur.
God, dude, can you just get on with the story? It's just so much filibustering here.
People came up to me and said John wanted to meet me. And so we went up to his office. And after a while, he comes out of his inner office and he comes over to me, my hand, looks me in the eye, and gives me a meaningful look in the eye and says, I just want to tell you how much I like and admire Spencer's work at the Daily Wire. Spencer was writing stuff at the Daily Wire. And I knew exactly what he was telling me. I knew exactly what he was telling me. He was telling me that he too believes, as I believe, that no man falls out of the sphere of God's love. And the first thing we're supposed to do is express that love in imitation of God.
What does that even mean?
And I know the left has decreed that any disagreement with their horrible agenda is hate speech, but I think now the right, these hitchhikers on MAGA, these limpids who are sticking themselves to MAGA, are coming out with this stuff as well, against gay people as well. I mean, there are plenty of important gay people in Trump's administration. He has been really good about this. He has always supported gay people. He's a New Yorker. Like me, he's a New Yorker. You live with crazies, you live with all the different things, all the eccentrics, and they actually give flavor to life. And if they give flavor to life, you have to...
All right, he didn't really say, but I don't know why this was... It really didn't need all the extra stuff there, but yeah, basically saying, I guess what at least with the captions implying is that he was saying that MacArthur kind of gave him a nod to his son being I don't know if I could say it, but a skittle. To some degree, to some extent, it seemed really like very non-descriptive of like what he meant by that. It's more of like his, oh, these are my feelings. You know, now that he's dead, I can say that, you know, he affirmed my son's degeneracy to some extent, and that he couldn't help it, and we should just love him. Of course, we should love, you know, we should love all sinners, but it's like he's kind of like using this as an excuse to say he doesn't have to be confrontational with his son or something. How does your son, even like as a supposedly like devout Christian man who like raised your son right, it's like, how does it even happen? So, you know, he's being on like, oh, you know, my son falls into that 0.8% or whatever he said, that like nature produces these skittles, these genetic dead ends. Yeah, it's like, so what I wanted to get at here, and as we kind of, I have like 3 more links to wrap things up here. So if you are just tuning in, thank you for joining. Please make sure you like the stream if you are enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel for more. I've been doing these 1 to 2 times per week, and I will continue to do so as long as the support keeps coming in. So I appreciate all of you guys and the support you've been giving this channel. It's been growing very quick, alongside the work I'm doing on Substack. So make sure you support over there as well. It's free, and you'll get all the updates to my work, and when I publish it directly to your inbox. All kinds of exclusive content over there as well. If you wanted to become a paid supporter, you can get access to our book club. Join the Discord as well. We have a free Discord with a members only section. Lots of lively discussion going on there. If you want to join a community of like-minded Orthodox Christians and others who are pursuing the truth, make sure you check the link in the description there. I got another link here on that note of John MacArthur, who we mentioned there. This is for those who don't know. Oh, this is the same. Hang on.
I'll just be honest with you. I feel that nature...
Sorry, it's the same thing. Here it is. For those who don't know, John MacArthur, he's, I guess, like one of the most influential, or he was one of the most influential Protestant pastors. He has a very popular study Bible called the MacArthur Study Bible. I think it's one of the most widely published study Bibles to this day. And we'll go over a little bit on that, because I've covered that the MacArthur Study Bible in my article on esoteric Protestantism. So there's some interesting stuff in there, but you know, it's just, I found it interesting that all these commemorations I kept seeing from inside of Twitter were posting these clips of him teaching actual heresy. And so this was a good example of that. And I wanted to use this as an example to just kind of shed light on this doctrine that, you know, I used to believe this as well. This is a Calvinist doctrine, this penal substitutionary atonement, that like Christ you know, took on, like he became sin, like he became the Father the Father turned his back on the Son. The Trinity was severed because the Father couldn't even look upon the Son as he took on all the sins of the world and was punished for it. So the Father punished the Son. So God punished himself for you know, for becoming sin. So this is what he's teaching here.
The greatest gospel verse in the Bible, 2 Corinthians 5:21. He made him who knew no sin for us, that we might be made the righteousness.
Which is this is a, I don't know what translation that is, but it doesn't say that in my Bible.
Of God in him. Let me unpack those 15 Greek words. He, God, made Jesus sin. What do you mean he made Jesus sin? Only in one sense. He treated him as if he had committed every sin ever committed by every person who would ever believe, though in fact he committed none of them. Hanging on the cross, he was wholly harmless, undefiled. Hanging on the cross, he was a spotless lamb. He was never for a split second a sinner. He is holy God on the cross. But God is treating him, I'll put it more practically, as if he lived my life. God punished Jesus for my sin, turns right around and treats me as if I lived his life. That's the great doctrine of substitution.
Well, that's penal substitutionary atonement. That's not the doctrine of, that's, well, yeah, I guess you can say it's the doctrine of substitution. That doctrine was not, you can't find that doctrine as he just explained it prior to the 16th century.
And on that doctrine turned the whole Reformation of the church. That is the heart of the gospel. And what you get is complete forgiveness covered by the righteousness of Jesus Christ. When he looks at the cross, he sees you. When he looks at you, he sees Christ.
Isaiah 53, 5-6. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one of us to his.
And so why is this a heresy? Well, there's a great video that was posted in response because I commented on this, and someone was asking that exact question. They were like, why is this wrong? Probably just because it's been taught. So it's taught so commonly in churches. And so this is a very, highly debated topic between the East and the West, or I guess particularly between, I don't even know if many Catholics ascribe to this. I'm not sure, but certainly Orthodox on a wide scale kind of like reject this to varying degrees. But this explains why.
Protestant pastor John MacArthur
oh, sorry, we have sound here. Okay.
Explains penal substitutionary atonement. Quote, God punished Jesus for my sins and turns around and treats me as if I have his life. End quote. MacArthur has occasionally mentioned that penal substitutionary atonement is at the very heart of the gospel. But nothing can be further from the truth. The disposition of the Father towards the Son of God and us is love, and always is love. In the story of the prodigal son, we see a father who has a posture of love and receives his son without condition when he returns home. Scripture says even when his son leaves his father's house to engage in reckless living and waste his inheritance, the father is still looking out from a distance for the day that his son will return home. When the son finally comes to his senses and musters up the courage to...
Just a side note, and this is a good video, except I can't stand stock footage. It kind of like decreases the quality of the mess. At least for me, I just get distracted by it because it's mostly really cringe.
To ask to even just be a servant in his house. What happens? The father runs out to his son and essentially disregards his sloppy apology, but adorns his son like the son he still is, and is ready to slaughter the fattened calf for him, not as a type of penal sacrifice, but as a loving sacrifice, a feast for a son who was dead but is now alive. The parable of the prodigal son carries the true heart of the gospel, which is the Father's love. It is out of love that God gave his son for us. For our salvation, he suffered and was buried, and all that was necessary for our salvation, out of his infinite love, he secured for us. The understanding.
And that's like a really, I mean, that's like a really base level, like not theologically deep explanation for it. It's like there's no instance in the Bible where sinners are treated like in this really fire and brimstone kind of way, where it's like, oh, you need to be punished, like you should be punished and like treated like the sinner you are. It's like the opposite. So I mean, that's like a very, if you wanted to get deeper on this, I would like recommend there's I mean, just look it up on YouTube. There's Orthodox priests that have talked about this. If you want to get into the more like debates and apologetics, Jay Dyer, Father Deacon Ananias, other Orthodox Christian apologists have covered this in great depth. So I'm not going to go into a whole thing on that, but I just wanted to cover that briefly because that was kind of like a question I get often, actually. Like whenever that comes up, I get in my replies like a question about that. And so someone posted this video. I thought it was like, good, really base level understanding of that. I think that's all I've got. Yeah, that was my last link. So that's all I got. That's all I got, friends. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm going to call night here. So yeah, thank you again for all of your support. I already kind of went over the whole thing, how you can get more of my work and support me. So I will be back. I don't know when, probably, I've been doing like Monday or Tuesday and then Friday evening. So I'm still trying to sort out the schedule, like what works best. And so tentatively we're doing Monday or Tuesday and then Friday. And, just stay tuned. You can follow me on Telegram, on X. Discord's probably the best place to know when I'm going to be going live. I post all the announcements there. But yeah, I hope to see you in the Discord, and take care. God bless. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and go to Divine Liturgy.